I'm Doomsvince, and this is day 52 of Spawn Year.
Lately, this series has been introducing a lot of new over-the-top science experiments and crazies into Spawn's supporting cast, not developing them past a simple origin, and then sending them on their merry way. I would assume to be brought back in whenever the book feels like derailing from the main story and distracting us with a random fill-in issue. First there was Tremor, then the Freak, and now, right after one completely arbitrarily placed character introduction, here comes Cygor, whose name is self-explanatory. He's a giant, cybernetic gorilla. What's a comic about a man who makes a deal with the devil without a cybernetic gorilla? Well, I guess I don't know just yet. So far, this reads like pages of a Spawn comic mixed with pages of some unrelated comic, chronicling the creation of a cybernetic gorilla by Dr. Wily from Mega Man. We follow an unnamed man hired by an unnamed party who kills an unnamed guard to get into the eccentric Swiss scientist Frederick Wilhelm's stereotypically creepy and partly dilapidated house, looking for a tape with information on his experiments with trying to, quote, infuse humans with multiple bionic parts. The thief sits in the house and watches the entire tape, which seems risky once he knows there might be an angry, robotically enhanced gorilla in the house, but it tells us everything we apparently need to know about Cygor's background, while giving us no clue about why he's relevant in the first place. I would have much preferred to follow Cygor himself and get some personality from him along with the background. On the other hand, this scientist is interesting. He's a sort of Victor Frankenstein meets Victor Freeze, looking for a way to use science to resurrect his knockout of a wife who looks like she posed for pinups while simultaneously performing her duties as a nurse. He was hired by the government to figure out how to fuse cybernetics with human tissue, and hoped to use that research to implant his wife's brain patterns into another body, the familiar story of a brilliant man who plays God with good intentions and creates something terrible that won't be controlled. He uses a gorilla first because it has a high pain threshold, and human beings can't tolerate the merging of machine with flesh. When he had created a machine-slash-gorilla that was more human than simian, he was just about to introduce his wife's mind into his subject. It's unclear on whether he would have used Cygor or some other host. But then he's attacked and killed, and of course, after the trespasser watches the tape, he too is killed and fed on by Cygor. Clearly, Cygor was recently created, so my first question is, if it's so hard to fuse human flesh with cybernetic implants, how is Spawn's world so overrun with cyborgs like Overkill? That's all we get about Cygor this issue. Meanwhile, Spawn unearths all the weapons I thought had been stolen from him and sold to his CIA buddy, who sold Spawn out to Sangster in Blood Feud. Are these new guns then? When did he get them? And how is this back alley hiding place so much better than his last one? And he gets packing with an absurdly enormous arsenal to go after Wynn again, until the all-knowing, always cryptic, and always cat-petting Cagliostro tells him Wynn is a red herring and just a small cog in a larger machine that conspired to have Al killed for some grand purpose. Cagliostro says Al has been a puppet since before he died, that he's still playing into this evil plot by targeting Wynn, and he needs to start thinking for himself. Not unusually, I find myself a little lost here. Why did Cog tap Spawn's head and reveal his memories about Wynn? Why was that treated like such an important revelation if Wynn's a, quote, red herring? It sure seemed like he did that on purpose. Surely it isn't somehow a coincidence Spawn's memories of Wynn came to him when they did. It's odd that he seems surprised Spawn wants revenge on Wynn. What did he think was going to happen? I'll admit to having no idea what I'm supposed to take from any of this. I like the scene with Grandma Blake and Spawn at the end. She tells Al a demon came to Wanda, of course Al himself, but she doesn't know that. And Wanda told her the demon pretended to be Al, but she didn't believe it. I'm pretty sure she does deep down know it's Al, but it's understandable she's in denial about it. There's a great exchange here when Grandma Blake says, "There must be some way you can keep that evil man away." And Spawn replies, "I'm trying." and I do believe him. Right now, Spawn is fighting himself, as he is both the hero and the villain. Now that he's really considering the consequences of his impulsive rage, it's easier for me to sympathize with him, though I felt like he had come to more of a thoughtful, reasonable place after his actions caused so many problems for Terry a dozen issues ago, and it feels like he's been regressed and then brought back to this point again. I like Spawn having someone like Grandma Blake to confide in, and I'm really hoping for more scenes like this one. In the letters pages, McFarlane apologizes for taking things too slow, and says he's moving toward a real resolution between Spawn and Wanda so Spawn can move to new things. I feel a little better about what I have to look forward to. Just a little. And now I suppose it's time to dig deep inside myself and find that unquenchable thirst and love for killer cyborg gorillas I never knew I had. Signed, Captain Logan.